Report of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. A record 90,000 new COVID-19 cases yesterday. That is the U.S. record for the entire pandemic. This is the situation we have right now. 43 states actually seeing rises in cases, 17 rises in hospitalizations, and you have 8 states that have actually seen record daily infection rates yesterday, where you have places like in El Paso County in Texas. They're actually shutting down all non-essential businesses for 2 weeks while they're seeing like a surge in hospitalizations. So right now the infection rate is pretty high, and we're running out of ICU beds all throughout the country. So everybody stay woke, stay grounded. Green Wall and Graduation. For the other New World, though, the Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, this is a organization within the Trump administration, actually have essentially cleared 8 out of 10 nursing homes that they inspected for infection control violations. Cleared 8 out of 10 of them, including nursing homes that saw increasing coronavirus outbreaks before or during the inspection. It turns out, and this is according to the Washington Post, they showed that 40,000 people, residents of the U.S., have actually died of COVID-19 that were in these nursing homes that were essentially given a clean bill of health by the Trump administration. So are they really inspecting? Is there really any oversight? Always keep this in mind as you watch, and make sure ain't no politicians out here talking about they're doing their part in there, because then if you have that truth with just this truth, you know one of those truths ain't gonna stand. Green Wall and Graduation. This report of the New World, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Now I already told y'all, record infection day for the United States on Thursday, 90,000 new COVID-19 infections. Well, the death toll is top 228,000 U.S. citizens who have died from COVID-19 since March. And Trump and Biden are having campaign rallies in a red hot zone in Tampa, Florida, where actually they were 10 miles apart having like competing rallies. So you had Biden with his rally, where it was like a drive-through rally. Basically, you had to drive up to, they were social distancing, people in masks, and he's talking about how Trump doesn't want to shut down the country, and one doesn't want to wear masks, and he's talking that job, and then Trump is over 10 miles away talking that shit that he's talking, as far as like, we're not going to shut the country down. And Biden did accuse Trump of politicizing the race for the vaccine, when we should do it in a safe, effective way. And you have Trump saying like, they're not going to shut the country down, but he's already pushing for these vaccines to be made. So what's very clear is that whoever wins, they're trying to push a vaccine on the people. Y'all best believe that. Now, moving on though, you also have CNN did a study that showed 82% of the counties that Trump actually had his rallies at saw a surge in COVID-19 cases after his rallies. You're talking about rallies where everybody's masked up. At Biden's rally, over at Trump's rally, they're shoulder to shoulder. Most people ain't wearing masks, to be for real. And you can see in the crowds, you'll see some people wearing masks in the crowds or whatever, but they still shoulder to shoulder, no social distancing. But it just looks really bad. It looks like they're trying to spread it, and how can you argue against it? Green Wall and Graduation. The New World, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. These election games, these niggas is playing out here. It's something serious, man. Yeah, everybody better pay attention. So out in Pennsylvania, for example, the U.S. Postal Service is actually, for the last 2 weeks, has their on-time mail delivery plummeted, even as the number of mail-in ballots for the election have skyrocketed. And oddly enough, in Philly, for example, you had first-class mail taken 42% of first-class mail taking 5 days or longer to be delivered, compared to when it was just 13% back in January. Also, in PA's Butler County, you had thousands of mail-in ballots that requests for mail-in ballots that apparently were lost in the mail. So everybody stay with Green Wall and Graduation. For the New World, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. These election games that they playing, man, they trying to have us make you feel like you have a choice when really they might be setting it up to where you don't. For example, in Minnesota, a federal judge had actually ordered that all mail-in ballots that are received after November 3rd, which is election day, be set aside, basically separated from the other votes. So this actually paves the way for these votes to not be counted, and this goes against the request or the order of the Secretary of State of Minnesota, who had put the order in that basically said that all ballots that are received within 7 days of election day should be counted. Green Wall graduation. Report out of the world of the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Get your gun, nigga. This is fun, nigga. Fun. You a dumb nigga. Get your gun, nigga. Remember Cam had that song, Killer Cam? Now check this out though. The crazy thing is, here we are right now, where that seems to be relevant in the political spectrum of things. Like, we're talking about voting for the president of the U.S. Over in Michigan, a state appeals court basically upheld an order that basically allowed for open carrying of firearms at poll stations. Now, you already know how these Trump supporters is getting down, so it's real eerie that they would even have that, especially in a place like Michigan, where the white supremacists had already plotted to kidnap the governor of Michigan, this white lady. It's crazy, but nevertheless, this overturns the Michigan's Attorney General's order to actually ban the use of open carry firearms within 100 feet of polling stations. So shit is getting active. I suggest you respect that. Green Wall and graduation. This report out of the world of the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So protests is continuing all across Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as all across the country in protest of the shooting and murder of Walter Wallace Jr. Now, the Philadelphia City Council actually had to ban the use of tear gas, rubber-coated bullets, and these so-called less lethal weapons that police basically been using to crack down on these protests, or to stop people's First Amendment rights. Let's call it what it is, you feel me? But at the same time, you have the family of Walter Wallace Jr. His mom was speaking out, and their attorney, Shaka Johnson, basically saying they don't want to even bring murder charges against the police. They feel like the police were not properly changed. They're calling for police reform. Now, we know that, and I've been already preached to y'all about how these matters should have to deal with people at the top, these cops. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if we're talking about people who actually should be executing what their bosses are telling them to do, well, then it has to start at the top. Like, to me, the police chiefs and the people that are putting people in training have to be held accountable for these murder charges or whatnot. Because if you're an engineer and you design a building and the building crumbles, you're going to fuck the jail. So it's that type of thing. But nevertheless, the footage of the killing, which police are supposed to show, are going to release next week, actually shows Wallace actually holding a knife, but he was shot 14 times. You know what I mean? He was shot once, and then he was actually shot with 7 times by each officer. But the dude went down after being shot once. So it's like, why did you need to kill him? You know what I mean? What did you intend to do other than to kill him? And then my whole thing is, why the fuck is y'all, what's up with the leg shots? Where the leg shots at, man? You got a gun, somebody got a knife, and you gotta kill him? Like, is that how that works? Green Wall and graduation, man. Y'all got shit fucked up. For the other New World of the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, remember back in 2014 when that cop in Cleveland killed Tamir Rice? Tamir Rice was a 12-year-old boy that was outside playing with a pellet gun. And Officer Timothy Loman actually pulled up, him and another officer, whatever. They pull up to the scene because somebody called the cops on Tamir Rice, because, you know, somebody's outside playing with a gun type shit. It was a black kid, and they shot him within minutes of pulling up. You see the video footage out there of it. And then when Tamir Rice's 14-year-old sister actually came to be by her brother's side, they tackled her and put her in a police cruiser. Tamir Rice died the next day. Now, the New York Times is basically, the Justice Department has quietly, on the hush, this is William Barr's Justice Department. They quietly ended a civil rights investigation into the shooting. So basically, the officer gets to get off. Those officers basically get to get off scot-free. And the New York Times also reported that career prosecutors had tried to bring the situation to a grand jury for 2 years before it was finally denied in 2019. Man, y'all motherfuckers want to say all lives matter. No, the fuck they don't. Clearly not to y'all. Green Wall and graduation. Streets report out of the New World, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. I got some bullshit to tell y'all, but the House Judiciary Committee, after 2 years of investigating Trump's zero tolerance policy at the U.S.-Mexico border, right? They found that the Trump administration acted with reckless incompetence and intentional cruelty. These are the words that they used in their first report, basically, on the matter. And that was released yesterday, Thursday. And this showed that the Trump administration knew that they would not be able to reunite all of the children with the families that they were separating them from. And they did that shit anyway. You're talking about over 2,500 kids who've been separated from their families, and you know the number could be way higher because we don't know. And they was losing track of the kids and all of that shit. Y'all remember that? I at least told y'all about it. But nevertheless, House Democrats are warning that hundreds of kids may never be reunited with their parents. You know what I mean? Some of these kids included, like, you know what I mean, people that was just disabled and sick and all of that or whatever, like infants. You know what I'm saying? For like may never see their parents again, yo. Like I don't think there's any words for this shit that could actually describe the gravitas of the scenario, because things like this, karma is real. You know what I'm saying? Any one of those kids can come back and be a motherfucking the Joker out this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? The Joker of Gotham City, like shit like that. And you're talking about hundreds of kids that House Democrats are warning that this could have happened to. And that's the president of the United States and his administration that's handling that. That's carrying that shit out and acting like it's all good. And it's definitely the fuck not. Green Wall and graduation. This report out of the New World, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, immigrant rights organization Project South, along with other legal entities, have actually sued ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. This is like the police force of the Department of Homeland Security. This is the government's immigration police. They've actually been sued for failing to turn over records on non-consensual medical procedures, medical gynecological procedures and sterilizations, as they have taken place at the Irwin County Detention Center in Georgia that I've been telling y'all about. The Intercept actually reports that 57 women at this detention center since 2018 may have undergone these sometimes aggressive, definitely unwarranted and uncalled for sterilizations and gynecological procedures since 2018. 57 women and whatever. So they're right now entities are suing to get that paperwork. So there may even be more heinous shit to come, but the shit is already on a wickedness that's of biblical proportions. Let's keep it real, y'all. Green Wall and graduation, man. This report out of the world, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the Guardian, the new media outlet, they're actually reporting that there's been a significant increase in deportations to Haiti coming up to these presidential elections, in a way that's actually worrying people about them spreading coronavirus amongst the asylum seekers and taking it back to Haiti. A watchdog group known as Watching from the Border actually reported that there have been 12 deportation flights that took place just this month to Haiti. So there's a great migration going on, forced migration rather. This comes as like immigrant rights advocates are saying that there's like a increase in support out of the world, though the Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So there's actually the Guardian newspaper is actually reporting that there's been a lot of a significant increase in deportations to Haiti from asylum seekers, people trying to seek asylum in the United States. You have a group called Witness at the Border. It's like a watchdog group that monitors activity at the border. They actually found that counted 12 deportation flights to Haiti this month alone. That's a lot. You're talking about
people being in fear that this is actually going to spread coronavirus amongst asylum seekers, as well as like taking COVID-19 over to Haiti. So there's a great concern there. Immigrant rights activists are saying black asylum seekers are being disproportionately targeted, which we should expect nothing less under this administration, to be honest. I mean, the president calls these countries shithole countries, right? I mean, earlier this month, you had 60 Cameroonians and like 24 Congolese asylum seekers that were actually deported en masse. And this is many of them is claimed that they were actually forced and tortured and abused into signing their deep removal papers. Green War and Graduation. Report out of the world, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report, man. Drugs bring a lot of destruction, pardon me, especially when you're dealing with, you know, cartels and, you know what I mean, people was dying over these, you know, turf and drug wars, you know what I mean? Especially in Mexico, we kind of actually know the myths. Well, that has been proven again, because 60 bodies were actually found in these secret mass graves in the state of Guanajuato, Mexico. Now, the National Search Committee found these bodies, say most of the bodies belong to teenagers. So these, you know, young people getting caught up in that. And now everybody, people acknowledge, officials acknowledge, violence has actually skyrocketed in Guanajuato, Mexico. But in general, ever since the government had declared the war on drugs back in 2006, 250,000 people have been killed. 40,000 are still missing, and there's over 3,000 of these clandestine mass graves that have been discovered. Green War and Graduation, y'all. Stay safe. Report out of the world, though, the Bishop Grady let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. Now, if you've been following me over the years, you know I've been reporting about this bombing and shit that's been going on out there in Yemen. This is the country that's actually underneath Saudi Arabia on the map. It's actually at the bottom of what's called the Middle East. Now, this war that's been going on in Yemen, you know, the Saudi Arabia coming over there, bombing the shit out of it with weapons that are backed by the United States, whatever. This shit been going on since the Obama era. Millions of Yemenis have been pushed into famine, starvation, and all of that because of this devastating fighting that's been going on. Houthi rebels, the Yemenis been fighting off the government that's, you know, getting backed by the Saudi Arabia being backed by the U.S. Crazy, right? Well, since Trump has taken office, 154 civilians have actually been killed by U.S. airstrikes, according to a watchdog group called Airways. They also found that 28 of these civilians were children, and since Trump has taken office, they've done nearly 230 airstrikes and ground raids. That's the amount, near the amount that President Obama had happened under President Obama for his entire 8 years of presidency. So there's definitely some increase in activity there. Green War and Graduation. Report out of the world, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report, man. Make sure you support the movement by going to blackfilesnews.com/shop. The link is actually in the Instagram bio. You can actually get some different paraphernalia that actually support us. Different colors, shapes, sizes. We got different lines. The Stop the KKK line. My mixtape album line, Still I Grind. We actually got, like, you know, stuff with our logo on it, towels, shirts, pants, flip-flops, all of that, man. They definitely is worth a while. Check it out, because it could definitely match with anything that you got in your wardrobe, no matter how swaggy you think you are. Now check this out, though. Over in the United Kingdom, Jeremy Corbyn, former leader of the Labour Party, has actually been suspended by the Labour Party after disagreeing or questioning the conclusions that the government came up with about anti-Semitism and the Labour Party. So you have the leader of Code Pink, Medea Benjamin, that's actually been vocal saying that, you know, this is somebody that's actually fought against anti-Semitism and fought for the rights of human rights, especially for like Palestinians or whatever. So but unfortunately, anti-Semitism is being used against him, like, to silence him, and that's sad. You know what I'm saying? So you know, it's reminiscent to what's going on over here in the United States, especially with these BDS these BDS rules that we got out here, or anti-BDS rules, boycotts, divestments, and sanctions. Look that up. Green War and Graduation though. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the editor-in-chief of DC Report, David K. Johnston, he's actually interviewing with Democracy Now!, you know, one of our main media sources, and you actually might have recognized him in I believe it was the Donald Trump The American Dream documentary, where he actually said that being part of the press and trying to get a word from Trump a couple decades ago, he actually had said something that he knew was incorrect, and Trump had, like, in trying to respond and sound clever, he had took what he said and kind of ran with it. And he was like, that's the move of a con man, like that's what that would do. So that always stuck out to me. But anyway, David K. Johnston, this man with the DC Report, they actually did a report that concluded that back in 2015 under the Obama administration, the U.S.'s wealthiest families were 270 times more likely to be audited than they are now. The Trump administration is blatantly not auditing the wealthiest Americans here. You have 24,000 of the richest families in the U.S. making making 30 million a year. And out of them, you know how many are being audited? 7. Not 700, not 7,000, 7. Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Glenn Greenwald, this was the dude that actually broke that Ed Snowden story in the early 2000s that revealed that the government is spying on us. The mass surveillance program that Obama said, oh, we're not monitoring all your phone calls. No, actually, motherfucker, y'all got all of the metadata. Y'all can monitor our phone calls, very, very much so. Nevertheless, the Glenn Greenwald was actually since then he was actually working for The Guardian. He has since co-founded The Intercept. They make groundbreaking news stories as well. But he actually published an op-ed about some disputed allegations about Hunter Biden and his business dealings. And you know, it was basically an article about like Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, something that was actually put out by the New York Post, but again was disputed allegations. And The Intercept wanted to censor parts of it or whatever, so he wasn't having it. So there's a dispute there. But Glenn Greenwald has actually resigned from The Intercept, the media company that he co-founded, basically saying, like, you know, they were trying to censor info on the candidate that they wanted to win in this election. And yet they were The Intercept actually put out a statement accusing him of basically doing the same thing, you know, being politically biased, and even sharing this story to help the Trump campaign, essentially. So real funny style shit happening over there. If you ask me personally, as somebody that's been studying journalism over the past few years, I kind of got to go with Glenn Greenwald, you know what I'm saying? Like, or I got to assume that he's operating in the best interest, because so far he's kept shit real factual, you know what I'm saying? So I hope he ain't going off the deep end trying to be no Trump supporter, but I do believe he dropping that real, you know what I'm saying? But you know, we'll see what happens though. Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. Definitely create a profile at Let's Post About It. That is blackfoxnews.com/LPAI, an acronym for Let's Post About It. A new social media platform that we have where we create our own forums, have our own discussions, just like on any social media page. But you can actually exchange not only messages, but pictures, code. You can actually exchange Excel sheets, all sorts of like PDFs, like legit files, where we can actually break down some truths and have some meaningful discussions. So definitely create a profile on that, and it definitely show love and support for us as we continue to support y'all, giving y'all that real. Now, the National Resources Defense Council actually has blasted a decision by the Trump administration to remove the endangered species tag on the gray wolf, basically saying that 6,000 gray wolves that are scattered all throughout the U.S. is enough to save the species. Now, the council is blasting them because it's like, you know, in these, you know, we're dealing with biodiversity, ecosystem problems on a global level. So, you know what I mean? Everything matters, and the health of like these animals, preserving these animals is good for not only the environment, but it's also good for us. We got to protect our ecosystem. So, you know, there's dispute there, but that's what happens. You know what I mean? More rollbacks coming from the Trump administration as far as like protecting what God put here. Green War and Graduation though.